Live stream, YouTube. Yep, that's going
Nice.
through. Yep, let's see, there we go. Cool. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Nicola here from Soul Alignment Sanctuary, and I'm coming in with Tara Goddard today for my QHHT session reflections. We're going to do a series here. So, yeah, just introducing Tara, just wanting to, yeah, bring you in and feel your energy anchor in. So, welcome. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you. Very excited to be here and share your QHHT reflections.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we've known each other now for probably 4 years, I think. You think on and off, and we've just met in person properly and really got to connect in the last year with um, spontaneously meeting at a CE5 event that I didn't really realize you were going to be there because there were a few Taras in the chat, and I didn't even realize or register that it was you there. We get caught up in our lives and you just show up, and then I was pleasantly surprised. I think that was the first time we met in person, wasn't it?
Yes. And
Yeah,
the feeling was mutual as
yeah,
well. I
yeah,
was so excited to see you in the flesh.
yeah,
Incredible event and share that
yeah,
experience together. Mm.
yeah. And I think that was even the first time we spoke about QHHT and doing a session. And I think that's where the conversation evolved from meeting on that night, and it kind of came up, yeah, that
Mm.
we should weave this into our growth and journey. And so yeah, towards the end of last year, I planned to do a solo road trip and head up the North Island. I'm based in Wellington, and Tara is about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from me. And so I thought it would be a perfect way to start my road trip for my New Year's to drop in and connect with Tara and do a QHHT session before I head on this solo road trip where I did a lot of bushwalking and hiking and tree communication and just like my own reflections for my life and what the next year will hold, this year that we're in now. And yeah, so what came through was beautiful, and I really spent the rest of that road trip kind of digesting it and reflecting on it, and you provide a beautiful replay as well so that I could go back and listen and take notes and drop into different aspects. So it's beautiful that you offer that. But for those people who don't know what QHHT is as well, I just want to hand over to you and share a bit more about what you do and who you learnt from and what it is.
Thank you. Where do I start? A little bit more about me. So, I am the founder of Esoteric Medicine Pathways, and my body of work and the essence of that is all about creating sacred experiences, empowering others or you to return back to your native medicine within. And these sacred experiences encompass some beautiful modalities, one of which is the quantum healing hypnosis therapy, and others are the breath, sound, and I also work with plant medicines, our mushroom friends, and plant allies.
Mm,
But with quantum healing hypnosis and like all my other modalities and tools that I weave into these sacred experiences, what I love so much about them is it really has nothing to do with me and
mm,
everything to do with the person that I'm holding space for. And what I love about them and what I love creating and what really excites me and my passion is seeing people step into their power, seeing people step into their truth and channel and be the creator of the very medicine that they need to receive, really stepping into their own healer codes.
mm,
And it is just a privilege to witness what that even looks like. Miracles literally happening just before your eyes. Like there is no limitations within any modality, but obviously I hold these modalities, you know, dear to my heart. And when it comes to quantum healing hypnosis, this is a theory, a therapy, and it's founded by Dolores Cannon. And the reason why I went down this beautiful rabbit hole of learning the art of this modality, and it's not really something that you can read a book or you go and learn the modality and you receive the teachings. It's something that I actually had to sit with for years. And the reason why I even went to learn this modality was not even to be of service within it and create experiences at that point in time, because I learned the beginning of my journey, I think now was about 5 or 6 years ago,
Mm,
was when I first started level 1.
yeah,
And my why was because of my children.
mm,
And it was because of my son. He was quite young, more of toddler age, and he was going through past life regressions.
mm,
And at that point in time, at first, I didn't really know what was going on.
mm,
And he'd wake up in the middle of the night and he would relive
mm,
in an altered state of consciousness. So it looked kind of like he was sleepwalking his past lives.
mm,
And he would relive what is the beginning stages of what I take people through quantum healing hypnosis. And I hadn't made the connection there at that point in time. So he would journey through his past life and the pivotal point where you would transition from one life to another. And
mm,
that is where what a human word for it is, we die, we pass on, we move on to the next stage of our life.
mm,
And it was horrific. He would wake up in the middle of the night, and as you can imagine, the way that we pass, sometimes, we could have that transition in our sleep. Sometimes we have experiences in life where we get killed.
mm,
Sometimes we have accidents, and there's so many different ways that we can transition. And it got to a point that it was day after day after day that he would wake up in the middle of the night and he would relive those experiences. And some were easier to transition over to the other side. Some were just horrific to witness, and there was no consoling him in that moment. It was as if it was real life.
mm,
So when I tuned in and connected with my guides and asked them, how can I best support him? Um, what do I need to know? What am I missing? I also explored going into like more Western pathways of healing and help, and I got help to a certain point,
mm,
and then I just intuitively knew that there was more to the picture of what was playing out.
mm,
And I then came to realize that what he was doing is kind of rewriting his karma into dharma. He was an indigo child, so reliving these experiences from transitioning from one life to another was him minimizing his karma that he has to work through in this lifetime. And that's one way of explaining the very multifaceted aspects of
mm,
what plays out in quantum healing hypnosis.
mm,
So that led me to learning this beautiful modality. So
mm,
I learned this modality first and foremost for my son,
mm,
not because I have taken him through the quantum healing hypnosis, because he's not of the age that it is safe to do that, but also to have the skills to support him when he's in that altered state, because he is somewhat hypnotized whilst he's asleep, sleepwalking, reenacting um, those key moments that shaped his soul, that are imprinted, that he's working through in this life. So I could use those skills in those moments to help assist him in a better way. So it was a tool to equip me to help my family. And
mm,
I sat there for years, just practicing, obviously, to build into my skills and create experiences and really ground and understand the art form of this particular therapy before I even presented it as a service and offering, because that really wasn't my intention. And then it just kept cycling back into my field of awareness. And it was like, you've got more to learn. Go back and study, go back and learn level two, and develop this. And it came up so organically when it reweaved back into my field. And I had a beautiful, dear friend reach out to me. And she said, hey, I really want to learn quantum healing. I really want to have an experience, not learn, sorry, and traverse through my past lives and connect in with my subconscious, my higher version of self. Can you recommend anybody that would do this that's local? And she knew that I had learned and was qualified within this therapy technique. And I was like, yes, I do. I put forward my recommendations. I was like, these people are incredible. One's down south and one's in Auckland. I highly recommend you going to see them. And Spirit's like, she's
You.
coming to you for a reason. And that was kind of the opening of the door for me to reweave this beautiful modality back into holding space for people. And
Mm,
at the same time, Spirit was like, there's something here for you. And I was like, okay, well, what is it? Tell me. And they're like, go forward, say yes, and create the opportunity that you could hold space for her. So I did. And they were very, very excited. And Spirit said, there's something in here for you. We're going to give you a piece of the puzzle. You're not going to know what it is
mm,
until you go and sit in the experience and everything unfolds.
mm,
So it was really this beautiful friend that gave me this gift. And there's so much in that story that I'm not going to speak into today, that then reweaved into another piece of the puzzle, which was through you, and then another and another and another. And these stories are so interconnected, albeit the quantum healing hypnosis is an individual practice and it is for you, the person that I'm holding space for. But like today, as you're going to uncover, there's a lot of collective messages that come out of this. So not only is this an individual healing on a multi-dimensional level,
mm,
there's also incredible transmissions that come through for the collective in ways that you can hold space, or even if it's just the teachings that we get to pass on, which is what you're here for today, to share your incredible reflections. But just to summarize what quantum healing hypnosis is, to build upon my why, is what lies within us is the universe, the all encompassing of our soul memories. It is ancient wisdom, and it is through this pathway that our intuition comes online, and what is waiting within our soul memories becomes remembered. We're bridging it from our subconscious into our conscious mind. It is always there, and this is just one of many pathways out there for you to be able to access this information. And when we journey through this beautiful modality, we journey beyond the veil, beyond the conscious mind, and we access those deeper realms. And we start off by journeying through one, two, maybe three past life experiences. And it just really depends on the depth or the information that comes up within the experiences. Some past life experiences are really juicy. So obviously there's a lot that you can acquire from these particular past lives, and some are more mundane. And I say that not in a negative way. I say that as it's more of like a resting life.
mm,
So there's not a lot that happens, but like all lives, like all incarnations, there's purpose, there's intention, and there's healing. So when we traverse through these past lives, there's healing there, there's clarity, there's soul remembrance to activate and bridge into this life. Because, yes, one, it is cool to learn where you traveled, who you were in a past life. Was I a man? Was I a woman? Where on earth was I? Where out of planetary was I? What was that incarnation like? And it's all very exciting. And that's just one fragment, one part of this particular experience, because everything feeds into the greater whole. So not only are you connecting with this incredible information that reside within your records about your past life, but it feeds into this life. So
Mm,
you journey backwards as such. I'm just going to say it like that. We journey backwards into our past life
mm,
to collect this information, to bridge it into our present life. So that could look like bringing forward the remembrance of gifts,
mm,
healing modalities, technologies, teachings, and bringing them into your conscious mind into this lifetime. So
mm,
it's like you're collecting data.
mm,
And that is the most simplistic way to explain that. And what happens is I see this come online in real life, in past life experiences. We can have the Council of Light journey for us, meet us at the table, and people are so activated and channel in frequencies that it is a blessing to bear witness of. Technologies that stretch me beyond my capacity to even humanly understand, and I'm like, whoa, this is new, this is intense. And it really is a privilege to not only hold space for the people coming into their soul remembrance, but also be privy to
mm,
some of these teachings that are just so ancient, so sacred.
mm,
And what happens is after we journey through multiple lifetimes, we then come in and we meet with your subconscious. I call it the SC, your higher version of self, where nothing is off limits. And when the SC comes forward, you talk about yourself in the third person. So what we do at the beginning of the journey is we write up as many questions as you like about accessing information that resides within your own records or the records as a whole ecosystem. And this is what I love is I ask you the questions and
mm,
you channel through the answers for yourself.
mm,
And as I said, it's nothing short of amazing with what can happen in this moment,
mm,
and what information comes through. Nothing is off limits. The limitation is merely yours when your human mind comes online after the experience. You're like, what? We healed this, we cleared this is no longer broken. I put all my bones and pieces of my body back together. Nothing is off limits.
mm,
It's your human limitations, belief systems that are like, no, surely not. We didn't do this. That limit you within your infinite capacity of not only physical healing, but healing mentally and emotionally, but also the gifts that you bring online as well. And
mm,
that's where your belief systems limit you. And am I even worthy to hold this?
mm,
Yes, you are.
mm,
So, this is the exciting part about this beautiful therapy, this beautiful modality is I'm just merely a guide
mm,
that gets you into this altered state of consciousness for you to acquire whatever information is relative for you to understand at this present moment in time. So,
mm,
as I said, when we journey into the past, we also journey into future, all of which is all happening parallel to you in this present moment in time. And this is where this modality opens up your multi-dimensional awareness. And we can do this and access this awareness through various different pathways. But what's happening is because past and future is all happening in the present moment, we just have a singular focus and only can interpret me, Tara, in this life more often than not. But journeying through a therapy and a modality such as this is opening ourselves up to our multi-dimensional awareness, is opening up our capacity to tune into all the versions and aspects of ourselves at a soul level.
mm,
It's exciting, it's expansive, and this is just merely the beginning of what we can be privy to when we traverse through spaces like this. And holding space for you, Nicola, was just such a privilege. And sitting there being privy to the things that you shared, I'm sitting in the energy fizzing and like, oh my God. And the things that you channeled through, challenged me and my expansion of the knowledge that I know, that I hold. And it's kind of like another foundation gets placed on another foundation. So as much as it is for you, you're expanding me in this co-creation
Mm.
of unity as we open up these spaces that go way beyond space and time. So I'm
Mm.
so grateful for you, to share the parts of your experience, that we both were like, this is bigger than I. This is definitely a we and to be shared. And you guys are just so blessed to be in receivership of the information that Nicola channeled through, because it is phenomenal. So I'm going to
Mm.
let you speak into, what your past life experience is and the main points, that came through within your
Yeah.
soul's.
Yeah. Thank you. I learned so much more about QHHT through that as well. So it's just so good to connect and hear things again and expressed in a different way and to yeah, deepen the understanding. Like repetition is the key to mastery. And so hearing things again and again really helps different points land with what we're doing here. So yeah, our session was 3 hours long. And when I came out of it, you were like, how long did you think that was? And I said 2 hours. And so, yeah, like time and space just really like condenses and expands at the same time. Like, remember I said, oh, I still have the blanket on me. Like, I thought I moved heaps and I was like, just like a corpse, just lay there. Just I went so far in that I just didn't move at all. And yeah, I've managed to digest about 2 hours of it. So today we want to go into the past lives section. You said you usually sometimes take people through a couple of lives, but for mine, we went just into one past life and explored that. And then after that, we went into the unconscious mind. So that's why we want to do this in sections. So we're not sure how many of this series there'll be. There might be like 5 or 6, depending on what comes through. And yeah, like I say, that I haven't even really like listened to the last hour of that because there was so much in those first 2 hours that I needed to kind of like journal and condense, and my journal is packed.
With wisdom.
Yes, exactly. And so, yeah, the past life that you took me into, I communicated that it was off planet, but it was similar to Earth, um, and that I was a male in a community that was had like a shamanistic element to it or an elder. I wasn't super old. I was probably in my 50s. But as you took me through portions of my life, there were like different parts of witnessing my family grow with me, but then holding massive space for the community and the land, particularly that we were on with this volcano. So when I arrived, I was just so hot, and I think that's all I could say. So just so hot. I'm melting. And you're like, the heat can't affect you. It's okay. Just regulate your body to where you are. So that was an interesting experience. Like I've had a couple of past life regressions done, not a QHHT, and I didn't have in those as much, yeah, like temperature mm, adjustment to my physical body. Like that was quite an adjustment for me when we first arrived.
I love that for you though,
Yeah.
just to add to that, because what you're doing in that moment is you're activating all your senses, you're really grounding. It's becoming a very real experience. And like you said, you were quite affected by the heat. You were really affected by that. And that just amplifies the realness that there, that is exactly where you are, and that your senses and your temperature is changing in this human body and this vessel is extraordinary.
Mm, yeah. Wow. And like there's about three different aspects of, what I want to bring through from this. And what, a key point was about the volcano representing like disharmony and like corrupt layers within the society and the community. And we were gathering to kind of temper the energies of the gods, the volcano. And there was aspects of gridding the land that came through that. And the main point that came through was through the children, like for the children to grid the land. And so the adults would observe the where the children choose to play and where they choose to play. Then once the children disperse, then the adults go there and then they grid that piece of land where they were choosing to play. And so it was kind of laid out and shown to me in like a sequence of like kids playing and laughing and having fun. And then a group of like me included and a couple of others would then come and grid that point of land. And then, yeah. And that's how they were reconfiguring the land for like healthier dynamic of the population that was in that community. And what else did I write around that? Yeah, the children anchor the grid where they choose to play with intention. The innocence of play is grounded in the purity of the locations they choose to play, and so they anchor the truth within the earth. So yeah, that was quite a profound aspect that came through and something that we can do here today, now, with your children. And when you're in the park and you witness some children playing and they move on, you could just go and meditate into that spot and ground that joy and that aspect of innocence and the perception that children have of reality that we've grown out of. And that's what we're trying to attain through this work, is getting back to that childlike innocence. And so it's like anchoring that into the earth. Mm.
Stunning.
Mm. Yeah. What came up for you when I was speaking into that? Because that was like literally the first thing that I went into, I think. Yeah.
Again, I was being in receivership and hearing that really hit home for me, having children. And also, we do spend so much time on connecting back with that inner child, that innocence within us. And that's a whole modality of healing work within itself. But something that's so simple and so obvious and so powerful, that their connection with the land, that they just know, they
Mm.
know where to be. It's kind of like, animals, cats for example,
Mm.
they are constantly recycling the energy in your home and working with the energy in that way. And it's just brings us back to get in touch with that inner child, our innocence, that playfulness, but also reconnecting back to the land. So observe your children,
Mm.
or the children, and where they're playing, and go and stand in those pockets of land. Connect, because as you said, they're gridding the land. They are opening up those pathways within the ley lines, and there's probably, it's so obvious yet not.
Mm.
And
Mm.
if we just sit back and observe, and then also go and be in those spaces, it opens up that opportunity to come back into our remembrance.
Mm.
So simple.
Yeah. So simple, right? Exactly. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to know where to grid. Just look for the children and wherever they're playing, go for
Mhm.
it. And then there was the layer of an initiation when you took me to another aspect of the life, and there was an initiation of one of my children. And what I got when I listened to the replay is like the children are taught that as they get older, that where they choose to play is where they're gritting. And so they're very aware as they get older that that's what the play is doing naturally. And so then that new generation coming up understands it more from an anchor point, whereas, generation that figures it out. And yeah, so there was like a teaching that went through as the children got older, that that's what they were doing. And so then the elders can then teach from an experience of understanding that as they grew, then they can teach the younger ones, as they get old enough to kind of understand, you were playing over there and da da da, and why did you choose to play there? And ask them and feel into what they say when they're old enough and be like, well, the energy there must have felt good. So, let's go sit there again and let's meditate and anchor some joyful, radiant vibes. So then the next person that walks through that might just have an uplifting experience when they walk across that, a week later or a few hours later. And then that's going to amplify anyone who crosses through that space. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And it just highlights that children are our greatest teachers, that they
Yeah.
know without knowing. It's just
Yeah.
something innate within them.
Yes.
They don't always have the human words to articulate,
Yeah.
what is so organic.
Mm,
And there's so much that we can learn that we've forgotten just
mm,
through observation.
mm,
And then the teachings, get builded and are passed on
mm,
in a more conscious way. And it's
mm,
not that it's not conscious, it's just so innocent,
mm.
the way that the children do it. But we can then pass them on, like you
Yeah,
said.
exactly. Exactly. So through that life, there was quite a big download around connecting in with our chakras, and that when you said towards the end of your introduction and talking about QHHT, that the universe is within us, and the message and the visual that I got, and we have our main chakra points, and then we got chakras in our hands, we got chakras everywhere, right? But the message and the vision was that each of our chakras, if we can visualize them as a sun, even our sun, and it has the planetary aspects oscillate around it that are their own smaller chakras. So if you can imagine our sun, and it has all the planets that whip around it, kind of like a nucleus and so each of our main seven chakras that we love to connect into has these oscillating points, which are portals into different aspects and can anchor different parts of what they resonate with into our main one. So then we can absorb it more, right? So each one is smaller. And so then as we can open those and draw our awareness into them, um, they kind of oscillate and create this magnetic field around. And so whatever we're connecting through can more easily be filtered into the bigger chakra, and then the bigger chakra has more access, and so then we can access it more from our mind, our energetics, our unconscious, and we can filter those experiences that way.
Mm.
So I wrote, they oscillate around the main chakras and align them. They oscillate with the magnetic field of the earth, finding grid points that activate these chakra points. I think that connected in with the children thing, finding grid points that activate them.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah. And then I had, yeah, your chakra is the sun, and each chakra has planetary energy that grids the chakra. Energy points around the chakras culminate the energy, gridding the chakra. Energy points, some brighter than others, some spiral like an atom around and cultivate the energy inside. That each is a dimensional gateway into those emotional centers. So that's like me transcribing what I was saying in the past life in the QHHT session. Yeah. Yes. And so how did you feel when that was happening? Were you like, oh, going to connect into my Saturn and my Pluto that's oscillating around my heart chakra right now?
Yeah, it was a lot to digest, and I was just fascinated by the way that it was shared within that transmission. It made so much sense, but yet I'd never thought to perceive it in that way,
Mm,
with the chakra solar system and how interconnected everything is.
mm,
And it was just like reweaving another link back into building upon knowledge that we have, but expanding our capacity to understand the interconnectedness on,
mm,
multi-layered levels. It
mm.
was, yeah, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this this is awesome.
Yeah. I know, right? And then I've got sound, smells, and symbols to activate, but I can't quite remember what that came in. But I mean, all of these different layers, help to bring in, different aspects of our senses and our clear senses as well, So yeah, so that was a big point. And that the fact that imagining our chakras as suns, and as we go into this through the series, it's a theme that runs through with that sun energy. And so when we can feel into our chakras as a sphere of energy, now I'm like, it's just that all, even, even the blue one is that I feel that sun energy, and it helps me anchor into my chakras more. So that was for me, but it might be for other people, in helping them anchor into their chakras visually and energetically more, to feel into that energy in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just to add to that as well, like you said, this is just kind of like the foundation of m more information that build into this with the chakra solar systems and the sun energy and speaking into the blue. There's some really other incredibly exciting teachings that you share in about like telepathy as well, and communication that you really want to stick around for when we speak into them more. So we're just kind of planting the seeds, and building upon that knowledge, because there's so many layers of what you brought through within the transmissions, and this piece of information was relative to you in this particular lifetime. But it's kind of like we reincarnate, or we come in, although we only journeyed with one, because it was such a there were so many moving parts in this lifetime. It was juicy,
Yeah.
and there wasn't really a need to journey into other lifetimes. Although the curiosity, if it was there, you could
Mm,
absolutely. But we also had a lot of questions to ask your higher self as well.
mm,
And the point I'm trying to make is what we may learn in one lifetime. So just like we've spoken into now about the chakra solar system, you have that information, it's imprinted into you on a soul level, and when you bring that forward, into your life, who you are now, you also carry that information at a soul level into other reincarnations as well. So again, you're constantly building upon mastering the skill sets. Yes, you may have been able to master it in this lifetime to a certain extent based on, the collective conscious frequency that we're at. But when we reincarnate and as things evolve and expand, we get another piece of the puzzle that we can add to that we can't even humanly conceptualize, because we're just harmonizing with the consciousness and the frequency in that lifetime. So this is what's so exciting as you build upon and share the information. There are so many layers. It's
mm.
so advanced.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there really is, and as you were talking, I'm just feeling into like visual diagrams of the solar system of each chakra, and how they operate and interact, and how that planetary energy, that astrology and the elements of each planet can then uh, radiate into each chakra, and what it means for each energy center, and what then that energy center represents. And so how, yeah, totally, my brain's just going on a like, I'm gonna need a journal when we get off for a while.
Couple of moments.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And this is what conversation's about, right? Because it yeah, brings through all those access points for it.
Hmm.
So there was one other layer that I wanted to bring through that kind of came through right at the end. I think you took me to like a pivotal moment. where I'd climbed to the top of a mountain and I was just, a big vista and I could see the volcano and the community below. And then I could notice that there were energetic grid lines that were in the air that were up, like in the yeah, through where the clouds usually are. And it was like a sky and air ley line points that we can energetically connect into. And I said this to someone, and they said, when we grid the earth, we grid up and down, like the energy that we grid goes up and down. And I was like, oh, it's not quite like that. It's not about gridding the air. It's like they're there anyway, and it's there for us to tap into. So, yeah, what did I write? Access points and ley lines in the air sky grids. Some move and some are in the same place. Right time, place, alignment to access them. So, yeah, that was a smaller piece. It wasn't as expansive. So some more layers that might come into that as I, continue on my journey, and I might get ask my guides to tell me more in my sleep about those, or, to access them through a meditation and see what else comes up about those. But did you have anything come through when I was speaking into that?
Yes, just briefly, just to add to that, more so highlighting what you said, being in the right place at the right time as these ley lines, and I'm going to give them a different name, like activation points or
Mm,
nodes.
mm,
Um, you just kind of interlinked into them,
mm,
and there was all these things had to play out because, like you said, we take you to a really important point in time
mm,
in that lifetime. So everything had to play out in your life as it did, the good or bad as we humanly analyze it, for
mm,
you to be at that direct point, where you were on the land, to have this realization, to tap into that
mm,
ley line in the air. So there is a lot more to that,
mm,
even though it sounds so simple. But yeah, it was so precise,
mm,
so specific for
mm,
you to have that realization,
mm,
and understand that particular piece of information, the way of the world, the way of the planet, the way of
mm,
the air, the ley lines.
yeah, beautiful. So yeah, as we wrap up, it's just feeling into those three key points that really came through with these children that grid the land, and then our chakra solar systems, and then accessing these sky gridding, and the nodes, the points of power within the sky, within the air. And I feel like that's like a little bit of the, witchy elemental aspect when we tap into the air element. It's like we've got the air around us, and quite often we're just like, the air is here, but it's like, let's connect into the air all the way up there. And that can be like another access point, like almost like I see, the your soul star chakra that's quite a bit higher up from you, like that then can connect. My hands are like way out of, they can then connect into that gridding. If we can connect into our soul star chakra and then ask that to see the gridding. And so we can understand the gridding that's above our house and what's happening above our house, and where we work in our city. And we can do things. We can.
The air highway, the ley
Mm,
line air highway.
yeah, exactly. So thank you for being with me for this first session of diving into the QHHT beautiful portal that you took me through. And that completes the past life aspect of the session. And then in the next times that we gather, we'll be going into what came through in my unconscious mind. And yeah. So these are spontaneous, not completely structured in terms of time. So it may be in the next few weeks that we get on again. It's also about me digesting what came through and like configuring it in a way that's deliverable and that I truly understand what came through for me and it lands more for me in terms of then sharing it. But like we realized today, having a conversation around it with you, particularly because you took me through it, then opens an activation for more information to come through, which just did with the yeah, the chakra solar system. Yay.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for checking in. And if you have any comments or if you want to work with Tara or just anything that landed for you, any takeaways, any activations you got while you're watching as well, just the conversation's open and that's how we can all grow and learn together. There's no gatekeeping around any of this. It's just like we just want to share what works and what feels like really like boom, like so powerful for us, so other people can like whoo, loop into it and feel it for them as well. And we can all expand together. So I really appreciate you so much, Tara. I appreciate you for holding such safe space for me to do my journey in and being so kind and gracious and informative and caring and loving and supportive with yeah, my first QHHT session.
A privilege and a pleasure, and it
Yeah.
was all you. You, it was all you. You're the person that's amazing.
All right, so thank you. So yeah, we'll sign off now and we'll see you again in the next one. Ciao for now.